Yeah, it's stressful. It's a stressful time for the aviation industry. The next couple years of my life are going to look a lot different. Lots and lots of people are going to be out of a job. What's up, happy travelers? Welcome back to my channel. I am Kelly, the awkward tourist. Now in today's video, I want to talk about what's going on in the aviation industry. If you didn't know this, I am a flight attendant. That is how I make a living. I've been on a leave of absence for the last 3 months. I recorded a few flight attendant videos at the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis just to give you guys an idea of what flying has been like. So I'll go ahead and link those in the description or put a little thing up here so you can click and see those. At the beginning of the pandemic, my job changed quite a bit, and it changed really rapidly. All of a sudden, flights just emptied out. We were going out with flights that had 10 people, 4 people, no people. It was so crazy. So in response, the company that I work for decided that they needed to cut a whole bunch of flights because they were losing money. They weren't making any revenue because no one was flying. So we ended up canceling thousands and thousands of flights per day. In April and May, it ended up being something like 60,000 flights. So with such an overage of flight attendants, everybody started freaking out that we were going to get furloughed, which is an involuntary temporary layoff. When Congress passed the CARES Act in March, it actually gave the airlines a bunch of money to keep everyone on payroll at least until October 1st. So that saved a lot of people's jobs in the spring and summer. So even though they weren't allowed to furlough anybody, they started offering leaves of absence and early retirement packages just because they still had too many people and not enough flying. So they offered several lengths of leaves of absence, 3, 6, 9, and 12 month. And I thought it would be a good idea if I took the 3-month leave. It was a little bit scary, but I did that for a couple of reasons. COVID-19 was spreading quickly. I didn't want to spread it to any of my family members. I didn't want to get it myself. I was lucky enough that I could do it financially, and it just sounded nice to have 3 months off of work. My leave was scheduled to start at the beginning of May, so it was going to be May, June, and July that it was going to be off. So as I was still flying up until then, it actually became pretty stressful to be in the air. The company's response wasn't keeping up with what the CDC was saying, so none of us really felt safe flying. Airplanes aren't exactly the cleanest places you can be. There weren't any mask or glove guidelines at the time. And even though flights weren't full, we were still scared of getting the disease and spreading it to our loved ones. So a lot of my work trips in April ended up getting canceled, and I couldn't pick anything up, so I actually ended up having most of April off as well, which was unintended, but there was not enough work. So actually they really needed people to take the leave, so I'm glad that I did that. So my original leave of absence was slated to end at the end of this month in July, but things are not getting better in the US, so I decided to take August off as well, and they're more than happy to give it to me because, like I said, they have way too many people, and as soon as they open up the option, I'm going to take September off as well. So it was supposed to be 3 months. It's ending up being 6 months at this point. So with the airlines, they plan out our schedule several months in advance. So it's the end of July now. They are starting to look at the October schedule. They need to know how many flights they're going to have, and thus how many flight attendants they're going to have. And October is important because remember I said they couldn't furlough anyone if they took the money from the CARES Act until October 1st. Well, the time to plan for October has come for the US airlines, and I'm not just hearing it from my airline. All the major airlines are going through this right now. So as the COVID situation has not improved, it's actually gotten worse in the US, they have too many flight attendants for October, which is really unfortunate because that means a lot of people are going to get furloughed. If you don't know what an airline furlough looks like, we are all unionized, so we have a contract. So that means legally they can't fire us or lay us off. They put us on what's called an involuntary furlough. So they say, we don't have any work for you. It's basically being laid off, except they can't hire anyone new without calling the furloughed people back to the job. We got an email recently which told us that we have a possible overage of almost 10,000 flight attendants. And that's just flight attendants. So that means that 10,000 flight attendants from my airline might be losing their job come October 1st. And it's all based on seniority, which means the last ones in are the first ones out. I have 6.5 years with the company, so I'm up there a little bit, so I'm pretty sure I still fall within that seniority of who they're going to furlough, unfortunately. So I've had some choices I've had to make. I'm kind of on the cusp. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with my job. Now I have a few options. I could roll the dice, go back to work, and maybe I get furloughed, maybe I don't. Another thing, they're trying to incentivize people to stop working, so they're again offering extended leaves of absence or early retirement packages. It's kind of a complicated situation, but right now I basically have 3 choices. Choice number 1 is an early retirement package, which they are incentivizing people to permanently separate with the company, which means if I took this package, I would be done. I would not be a flight attendant anymore. I couldn't ever get hired in the future, and I would be permanently looking for another job. The benefit of doing that is that I wouldn't have to worry about furloughs or being in the air or doing any of this. If I were to retire early at my seniority, they would give me my health benefits for 6 months and my flight benefits for 2 years, which isn't too bad because if you just quit, you don't get your flight benefits at all. So not too bad of an option if that's where you're headed. Option number 2 is I could roll the dice, go back to work, and maybe I'll get furloughed, maybe I won't. I don't know if that's necessarily a good option. Now, what happens if I do get furloughed is I keep my health benefits for, I think it's 3 months at my seniority. It depends on how long you've been with the company. And I keep my flight benefits for 2 years. And then after that, if I'm still furloughed, I have no flight benefits and no health benefits. It depends. It's an indefinite furlough, so I really don't know how long it would last. So they could call me back in 6 months or 5 years or 15 years, or however long this thing goes on for. So it's really, really uncertain. Option number 3 is that they are offering extended leaves of absence. They are quite a bit more extended than the leaves of absence they offered earlier in the year, with the shortest being 15 months. They also have 18 months and 24 months. One of the benefits of this option is they're letting you keep your health insurance the entire time you're on the leave, which is great during a pandemic, of course. And they're also offering for you to keep your flight benefits. So even though you're not working, you can still go travel anywhere whenever that's safe to do so. The downfall of this is, even if I take the leave of absence, if the furlough gets to my seniority, it gets converted to a furlough, and this is where it gets kind of complicated, and then I lose all those benefits. So it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what to do. Another reason why this is not a great option is you don't have any income. So it is a lot to think about for a lot of people, especially people who definitely fall in the furlough seniority, because there are chances that if someone above you takes a leave of absence, it may save your job, but there's really no way to tell. They can't give us an exact number of people they need to take leaves. They can't give us an exact number of people they're going to furlough until they actually do it. It's a lot to think about for a lot of people. Even though we have these options, it's still hard to say exactly what will happen and what will benefit everybody because there's just so many variables. They don't exactly know how many people will take the leaves or take the early retirements. So it's quite a dilemma, and a lot of people are really trying to figure out what to do. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs for the foreseeable future. Not only will we be losing our income, we'll be losing insurance as well if it's an involuntary furlough. And losing your health insurance during a global pandemic is probably the scariest part. So yeah, it's stressful. It's a stressful time for the aviation industry. Lots and lots of people are going to be out of a job, unfortunately. So at this point, you're probably wondering, well, which one are you choosing, Kelly? What are you doing? And I'm here to answer that burning question for you. What I've decided the best decision for me to make is to take It's so scary to say. A 24-month leave of absence. I've thought about this a lot, and it still doesn't guarantee anything because I could still be furloughed depending on all the numbers and things that I said earlier. But I still think this is the best decision for me because I don't want to put myself and my family at risk due to this virus. I have had a love-hate relationship with this job for a long time, and it's not worth it to me to put myself through the stress of trying to stay. And if I end up not being furloughed, I can keep my health benefits and my flight benefits for the next 2 years. And it gives me the time to do things like this, work on my YouTube channel and my blog and my Instagram and all the online things that I'm trying to do right now, which is really, really awesome. I'm really thankful for the time that I've been able to do that over the last few months. But it's really scary. Giving up your main source of income or having it taken from you, whichever way it ends up going, is really scary. Also, I haven't even mentioned yet, another fun part about this, LA is a major base for my airline. That's where I'm based. It's where I'm from. My whole family lives here. We've gotten word that a couple other bases in LA are going to be downsized a bit. So this also brings up the risk of me being relocated to another base, which I don't wanna. Although the chances are small that this would happen in normal everyday life, they can actually do that. So they can just 1 month say, hey, you're going to New York or Boston or Dallas or Miami or someplace. And that's where I'd have to work out of, wherever my new base was. All of my work trips, my work flights would go out of that airport and go back into that airport. So I'd either have to live there or commute to that city. And if you live in LA and commute to Boston, that's a really, really long commute. So again, it's another thing that I really don't know until they know the numbers. So I'm trying to guess as best I can. But the 2-year leave of absence will at least mean that I can stay in my home for the next 2 years. At the end of it, I may have a different base. I may have to go someplace else. But with 2 years off, I don't have to figure that out for a while. So that's another plus to me taking the 24-month leave of absence. It's all very stressful and scary right now, just because we all don't really know what's going to happen, and we're trying to make the best decision based on a lot of rumors and hearsay and vague numbers. The next couple years of my life are going to look a lot different, unfortunately. But hopefully that's for the best, right? We'll see. We're going to make the best of this situation no matter what happens. So if you made it this far in my airline sob story, you are a trooper. Thank you so much for watching. It's an adventure, that's for dang sure. I'll be keeping you updated. Watch my Instagram stories. That's the most up-to-date information. But thanks so much for watching. During this time that I'm going to be off work, the YouTube channel is going to be something that's going to be very vital in keeping us sane and hopefully making us a little bit of money in the future. So anything you can do, thumbs up, subscribe, drop us a comment of future videos you want to see. That really, really helps support us. And during this time, we need it. So thanks. So thanks so much for watching, guys. And make sure to subscribe so you can catch those other videos I was talking about. This is The Awkward Tourist. Peace out. Whether or not I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. The third option is they are offering, I don't know why I keep doing this. No, that's stupid. I don't like that. Yeah. Cut!